Hey guys, welcome back to this week's weekly bonus special for the Financial Freedom Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Christopher Liu. And wherever you are in the world, whatever time, we want to thank all of the listeners. We call you as friends and guests for giving us your precious time and attention and listening to what we have to offer. I also want to give a special shout out to StreamYard, which is streaming this episode, as well as the sponsors of the show, CityVest, the advertisers on Spotify, and the listeners such as yourself for all of your support and donations. So today is, before we begin, please share, comment, like, subscribe to the podcast wherever you are. We're on LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and we're soon going to Amazon as well as Twitch. So today's bonus episode is titled Podcasting, a Trendy Medium with a Bright Future. And it's going to be talking about my observations, experiences at the PodFest Expo in Orlando this year. Just came back from it a few days ago, still recovering for the amount of information. And I think podcasting is a great medium to grow your audience, build your influence, and grow. So without much ado, let's go into the show. So PodFest Expo was last week in Orlando, and I want to thank special shout out to Podmatch, Alex Sanfilippo. He sponsored this opportunity, and what PodFest is, it's like a FinCon for podcasters. So if you're not familiar with FinCon, but it's like a social media convention where people convene every year to talk about personal finance. So there's YouTubers, Instagrammers, podcasters, bloggers, etc. And podcasting is really a very early medium, and it has a huge future. Even though I first heard about it back in 2018 at South by Southwest, which really covers like up-to-date trends. But even before that, there were podcasters, early 2000s, some of the bigger shows. And it's really gained popularity because it's sort of a long-form content. It's got some technology involved in it. And it's very, it's people who like audio, a little bit more intimate. And so if YouTube is like the TV, podcasting is like the radio. And it's a big event for podcasters, content creators. It's got a lineup of industry experts, workshops, and the huge thing is networking opportunities. So if you're interested in podcasts, if you're interested in starting one or you already have one, these events really have a lot of value for you. So, if you already have a podcast, it's great for building an audience, growing, automating, scaling, and increasing your influences. So a couple of the key takeaways that I learned from attending. So one of the big things was artificial intelligence, and our AI is continually growing. So it made the headlines last year when OpenAI released the software called ChatGPT. And the reason why this was so significant was because basically it released to the mainstream for free the ability to start using artificial intelligence. Before it was for the military, government, universities, institutions, companies, but now it's offered to the mainstream. So this is huge for creators, thought leaders, influencers, and I'll go into some of the examples why. Microsoft recently invested $10 billion into OpenAI. People say it's going to take out Google. Google is still predominantly, it's got more market cap, but it will force Google to pay attention, to innovate, and there could be some what I dub as AI wars. Much like you had like the browser wars, you had the internet wars, you had the mobile phone wars. So interesting thing is you can go on the YouTube and Google World Economic Forum 2023, and Satya Nadella, he's the CEO of Microsoft. He was talking about Microsoft investing in AI as a platform. So not as a entity, but as a platform. So if you think about the internet, all these platforms, search, the mobile revolution, social media, then you also had the sharing, the gig economy, where you had companies such as Airbnb, Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, all of these. So if you really think about the history of Microsoft, they missed out on search, mobile, and the social media revolution. So I think they really had to, they learned their lessons moving forward. And so now they've heavily invested, Satya invested in cloud infrastructure, which is huge. Now it's like Microsoft, Amazon, and now they're investing in AI as a platform, which will eventually give rise to services. So if you want to check it out, it's go to OpenAI. It's currently free, but they're saying that OpenAI may charge later. And there's a lot of other different AI platforms. For example, there's Jasper AI, there's Copy AI. There's a lot of different specific niche use cases for artificial intelligence. So you can go from text to generative art. You can go to, excuse me, you can go to text to images, videos. It's really just brushing the surface as what's available. You can check out Dolly as well. And it was great because I got to network founders and CEOs of SaaS AI companies, and specifically in the podcasting space. So you can check out Capshow, which basically takes your video or your audio and will create transcripts, can create descriptions, titles, headlines, social media, a lot of different things. Wisecut can use artificial intelligence to edit out your videos. So now, unfortunately, editors, assistants, all of these types of gig or freelance types of jobs will be forced to evolve because AI is going to get replaced with software. So, but if you're a content creator, the opportunities are amazing because basically it'll do the groundwork for you. So if you have, for example, writer's block, or you can't think of ideas, or you need to brainstorm ideas, you need to create an outline, all of these things the AI can do for free instantly. So it's really, for example, you had bloggers in the past that had to search keywords, search hashtags, come up with things, and it would literally take 1 to 2 hours of time. Now AI can do that in minutes and sometimes seconds. So it can shave the amount of time, the actual work time off. And now content creators, thought leaders, influencers can focus more on creativity. And where I see AI really helping is with creativity. So humans can combine the AI together with their knowledge and create new things. So it's going to really, it's creating a Cambrian explosion of so many different ways of collaborating, creating with the AI. And honestly, I've just used it for couple months, and my output has 10x about what I can do, how much money I can save, and it's just really incredible. So they say that AI is going to change the world. Everybody says whenever something is new, they say it's going to change the world, but the opportunity, it's going to change the paradigm, and it's going to really unlock a lot of new opportunities, much like the internet did. And it's just amazing to be living in this time. So you can check that out. ChatGPT. Sometimes the network is so congested that it can't, but it's actually improved on the scaling, because last week I couldn't even get onto it. And now it's like congested, but at least it's functional. Also check out Copy AI, because if ChatGPT 3 is congested, you can go on the Copy AI. It's free as well, and it can help you with headlines, titles, descriptions, etc. Obviously, one is networking. This product. These are talking to one of the attendees, podcast host, Walk to Wealth podcast. You can check that out. And one thing that was really insightful is, because I usually go to conferences to either speak and to sit in see what's on the cutting edge, but really networking with people, sharing ideas, connections, the amount of creativity, that's what's so valuable. And then the education and talks are very secondary. The next big takeaway is that podcasting is still a nascent and growing medium. So even though it's been, we've had podcasters starting in the early 2010s, maybe even earlier than that. So, and it's really much like Gary Vee said, that whenever a new medium, attention, which catapults attention, you need to double down on it quickly, because otherwise it becomes saturated and then people move on to the next thing. So in this day and age, attention is a highly valuable currency. You can do so much with attention. You can educate, inform, inspire, motivate. You can, as well as market, grow your brand, grow your audience, as well as make a living off of that. So, and Gen Z and a lot of the younger population understands that, so they can leverage that attention and create their own freedoms. So if you missed out on Facebook, if you missed out on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat, YouTube, podcasting is still an untapped potential. I started, 5 years ago, and it's still very early. You can create valuable information, long form, short form, solo interviews. You can do shorts, so many different ways. You can build an audience, grow your influence. There is live, there is streaming. You can reach potential customers and build a community around shared goals. That was the other thing, is building engagement and building community are the best ways to stay ahead. And podcasting is a medium for that. Opportunities for creatives and opportunities to build via the podcasting medium are still incredible. And lastly, tools and techniques and strategies to start, build, grow, and automate a podcast are always changing. So if you think about with microphone, camera, video, streaming, software, all these are changing. 10 years ago, you didn't have these, but now the technology is changing. Now you have artificial intelligence, you have ChatGPT, you have Dolly. All of these are, we as entrepreneurs, we have to stay ahead, abreast of technological change, and learn how to use these companies, how these tools in our companies and businesses. So that's kind of, you should check it out, PodFest Expo. There's also another podcast meeting in Las Vegas in March. It's called Podcast Evolutions Movement. Like I said, this year I'm really want to focus on the podcast, as it's really gained traction. It's really gone exponential. And so check that out. So with that, I want to thank again Alex Sanfilippo for sponsoring this opportunity for me. And if you want to find out more, you can follow us on the podcast. It'll be in the links, as well as we're on YouTube, Twitter, Substack, LinkedIn, and Instagram. And with that, I want to thank you, and we will see you next week.